Your ability to stop is affected by A. Signal lights. B. Other cars on the road. C. The time of day. D. The condition of the road. D. The condition of the road. Your ability to stop is greatly affected by the condition of the road. You need to reduce your speed when road conditions are poor in order to maintain control of your vehicle. You will be at risk if you are driving too quickly on roads that are slippery and you need to stop. This sign means A. Divided highway ends. B. One-way traffic ahead. C. Two-way traffic ahead. D. Keep to the right. D. Keep to the right. This sign indicates that you must keep to the right of the upcoming divider. When entering a street from a driveway, you A. must drive slowly to allow approaching vehicles and pedestrians time to get out of your way. B. Must honk your horn so approaching vehicles and pedestrians know to give you room. C. Must stop and proceed only when there are no pedestrians or vehicles approaching. D. Can disregard any pedestrians if there is no sidewalk. C. Must stop and proceed only when there are no pedestrians or vehicles approaching. Always stop before entering the roadway from a driveway and yield to any approaching vehicles or crossing pedestrians. The stop should be made before crossing the sidewalk area. Failure to stop is unlawful. The risk of hydroplaning can be reduced by driving A. Through shallow water. B. More quickly. C. More slowly. D. Through deep water. C. More slowly. Because hydroplaning is caused by driving too quickly in wet conditions, the risk of it happening can be reduced by driving more slowly.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
At dusk or on overcast days, you should A. Drive using your four-way flashers. B. Drive using your parking lights. C. Not turn on any vehicle lights. D. Turn on your headlights. D. Turn on your headlights. At dusk or on overcast days, you must turn on your headlights. Dim your lights to their low beam setting when within 1,000 feet of an approaching vehicle and when within 500 feet of a vehicle that you are following. When driving in poor weather, always use your low beams. Distracted driving may be caused by A. Eating, drinking, or smoking. B. Talking or texting on a cellular phone. C. Changing a radio station or CD. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. It is estimated that drivers make 200 decisions for every mile traveled, making it vital that drivers focus their full attention on the task of driving. Performing any additional task can create a dangerous distraction. When approaching a pedestrian hybrid beacon with two solid red lights, you must A. Proceed with caution. B. Come to a complete stop before proceeding with caution. C. Slow and prepare to stop. D. Come to a complete stop and yield to pedestrians. D. Come to a complete stop and yield to pedestrians. A pedestrian hybrid beacon (PHB) allows pedestrians to safely cross a roadway. A PHB only operates when activated by a pedestrian. When the PHB is displaying two solid red lights, you must stop for pedestrians. when driving on major highways? A. Stay alert. B. Keep your eyes moving. C. Be ready to react to road hazards. D. All of the above. While operating a motor vehicle, drivers are permitted to text: A. At stop lights. B. Under no circumstances. C. By using voice to text. D. If they can send the text without looking at the phone. B. Under no circumstances. You cannot use any mobile electronic device to write, send, or read an electronic message while driving. This law includes text messages, emails, instant messages, or accessing the Internet. You have the right of way when turning left on which of the following traffic signals? A. A solid green light. B. A flashing yellow light. C. A green arrow pointing left. D. A flashing red light. C. A green arrow pointing left. A green steady arrow means you may pass through the intersection in the direction that the arrow is pointing. Oncoming traffic is required to stop for turning traffic. Drivers must yield to a pedestrian? A. Even if the pedestrian crosses the street carelessly. B. Only when the pedestrian is in a crosswalk. C. Only if the pedestrian is on the same side of the road as the driver. D. If the pedestrian uses a hand signal to ask oncoming drivers to stop. A. Even if the pedestrian crosses the street carelessly. Drivers must always yield to pedestrians in the street, even if they are crossing against a red light or are otherwise being careless. This sign means: A. Left turn yield on green. B. One way. C. Cattle crossing. D. Two-way left turn. A. Left turn yield on green. Regulation signs regulate traffic speed and movement, displaying rules which drivers must obey. This regulation sign indicates that drivers turning left at a green light must yield to oncoming traffic and may complete the turn when it is safe to do so. This road sign means: A. Road construction ahead. B. The road ahead curves left, then right. C. The road ahead curves right, then left. D. Steep grade ahead. Drivers who have consumed alcohol before getting behind the wheel: A. Are always aware of the risks they are taking. B. Do not have sufficient control over their bodies and minds or the vehicles being driven. C. Are better drivers because they are more careful than sober drivers. D. Have quicker reaction times. B. Do not have sufficient control over their bodies and minds or the vehicles being driven. Alcohol is a depressant that negatively affects judgment, vision, concentration, understanding of reality, and reaction time. It is never safe to consume alcohol in any amount before getting behind the wheel of a car. This road sign means: A. Road widens ahead. B. Lane reduction, the right lane ends soon. C. Highway entrance ramp ahead. D. Lane reduction, the left lane ends soon. B. Lane reduction, the right lane ends soon. This sign indicates that the right lane ends ahead. Distracted driving is: A. Very uncommon. B. Extremely risky behavior. C. Nothing to be concerned about. D. No less safe than driving under any other conditions. B. Extremely risky behavior. Distracted driving is extremely risky behavior that puts not only you and your passengers in danger, but also endangers pedestrians, bicyclists, and other motorists sharing the road. Focused attention on driving helps to prevent crashes. You may park or stop along the shoulder of the freeway. A. As long as you turn on your four-way emergency flashers. B. If no part of your vehicle is on the road. C. If you need to look at a map for directions. D. Only if you have an emergency. D. Only if you have an emergency. It is prohibited to park on the shoulder of a freeway, except in an emergency. A person who drives much slower than the speed limit. A. Is a very safe driver. B. Always has the right of way. C. Should not let following cars pass. D. May create a dangerous driving environment. D. May create a dangerous driving environment. Driving more slowly than the flow of traffic can be hazardous. If you are on a two-lane, two-way road and driving so slowly that traffic is backing up behind you, you are required to pull off the road and let the other vehicles pass. Only drive significantly under the speed limit when conditions require it. This sign shows one type of A. Intersection. B. Road curve. C. Right turn. D. Lane change. A. Intersection. This sign indicates that an intersection with a crossing road is ahead. This road sign means A. Drive with caution and be ready to slow down. B. Do not drive in this lane. C. You must come to a complete stop and yield the right of way. D. Slow down, be prepared to stop, and, if necessary, yield the right of way. D. Slow down, be prepared to stop, and, if necessary, yield the right of way. This type of triangular sign means drivers must yield. You must slow down as you come to an intersection marked with this sign and be prepared to stop. Let any other vehicles, bicyclists, or pedestrians pass safely before you proceed. An octagonal sign is always a A. Speed limit sign. B. Stop sign. C. Hospital sign. D. Railroad warning sign. B. Stop sign. Octagonal signs are always stop signs. Come to a complete stop when approaching a red, 8-sided sign. On a freeway, you realize you missed your turn or exit. You should A. Make the turn quickly from your lane of travel. B. Stop and back up. C. Continue driving until you reach the next turn, exit, or other location where you can safely turn around. D. Signal other drivers to stop so you can turn. C. Continue driving until you reach the next turn, exit, or other location where you can safely turn around. If you miss your turn or exit, do not back up, but go on to the next turn or exit where you can safely turn around. It is illegal to back up on a shoulder or a freeway. What does alcohol do to your driving skills and judgment? A. It helps driving skills but harms your judgment. B. It harms both driving skills and judgment. C. It has no effect on either driving skills or judgment. D. It has no effect on judgment but it harms driving skills. B. It harms both driving skills and judgment. Alcohol negatively affects many skills needed for safe driving, including your reaction time and ability to see clearly. It can also harm your judgment of speed and distance, lower your inhibitions, and make you more prone to taking chances. You are driving on a highway divided by two solid yellow lines. You may A. Cross these lines only to make a left turn into or from an alley, private road, or driveway. B. Cross these lines to pass other vehicles, but only if there is no oncoming traffic. C. Cross these lines under no circumstances. D. Cross these lines only to make a U-turn. A. Cross these lines only to make a left turn into or from an alley, private road, or driveway. Double solid yellow lines are used to mark roadways where passing is prohibited from both directions. You may cross these lines only to make a left turn into or from an alley, private road, or driveway. To turn left from multilane, one-way streets and highways, you should start from A. The middle of the intersection. B. The right lane. C. The left lane. D. Any lane. C. The left lane. To turn left from multilane streets and highways, start from the left lane.